welcome to today's meditation time. It is an honor to get to spend these few minutes of stillness, of presence, of this collective unity, of other people who are trying to progress along this journey in the same way that each of us is trying to progress. We recognize we're not working toward anything, we're just moving along this journey. And it is empowering to know that we are not doing it by ourselves. And so as you get comfortable where you are, I would invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And let's just settle in. Just allowing ourselves to truly come into the present moment. The same way that you shifted or you moved into that physical spot where you are. Allow your heart and your mind to shift and to move into the here and the now. And as you begin to settle, take these first few breaths to just check in and notice. Notice the things that are filling up your mind, the things that could potentially try to draw your attention away from the here and the now. And just get a sense of what those things are. We don't just come on to this cushion or the spot wherever you have found yourself today and all the thoughts just pause and give us our time, but rather we have found that the more still we attempt to become, the louder the knocking of those thoughts becomes. So just check in and see, what are they? What are the burdens? What are the points of confusion or doubt that you're sitting with? What are the things that keep you busy in your thoughts? Just recognize them. See them. And then what we'll find across these few minutes that we'll spend together is that as we sit and as we attempt to be here, a little bit of a prick of our attention will come, and we'll have two choices. We let it just float past, knowing that we can take care of it later, or maybe it's really not that important, or we'll lose our focus of the present moment and we'll follow that thought. So just know that we're not trying to control the mind, we're not trying to control the moment. We're just making choices, just one breath, one distraction at a time. And through it all, we give ourselves grace and patience and understanding. And so let's find some collective breath together. So just begin to take a slow, deep breath in. And then exhale, just sigh it out. Slow breath in. And sigh it out. And one more, breathing in and sigh it out. And just notice how when you're breathing that way with such intention, those distractions lose a little bit of their power, a little bit of their influence. So just know you can always come back to the breath. Just a deep breath in and a full breath out. And you'll be back in the here and the now. So we've been on this journey for a while now. We've been walking this path of just discovering and uncovering a bit more these teachings that yoga gives us. Not the teachings about how to stand on one foot or how to balance or how to put our head below our heart, but these teachings that go to the core of who we are. And we sat with these teachings about our interaction with the world, the yamas. And now we're on this exploration of these other teachings that are about our interactions with ourselves. The Sanskrit word is the niyamas. And there's so many ways that we can look at these, so many different angles that they can impact our lives. But today we're going to look at the teaching of Santosha. It is perhaps my most favorite Sanskrit word of all. And there are so many that have such power and such meaning. But Santosha, when we translate it directly into English, typically you're going to see someone say that it means contentment. Contentment. But my way of looking at Santosha is a little different, because I just don't think contentment is quite big enough. Sometimes contentment has this idea that we're settling. And the way that I look at Santosha, this teaching and this yogic path, is being in love with your life, all the parts of it. Being in love with your life. I read a quote not long ago that this teacher was really trying to inspire his students, and said that from the moment that you first wake up, are you excited about the potential of your day? About the things that you get to interact with, the things that you get to do, the lives you get to touch? And of course, everyone wants to say yes. But the reality is that most of us, we can't say that we are. We don't jump out of bed ready to just impact the world. Sometimes we wake up with worry and with drudgery and with nervous anticipation and leftovers from the day before in our mind. But Santosha really encourages us that even in the midst of the things that are hard, even in the midst of the things that we struggle with, can you be in love with your life? Can you be so grateful that the sun rose and there's breath in your lungs, that all the rest is so secondary? Those things don't determine our Santosha, our contentment, our ability to be in love with our life. But we've got to learn to sit with them. We've got to learn to work through them. We have to learn to just be with those struggles. And then along this journey and along this road, Santosha begins to bloom. And so I thought the way that we'd sit with this today, it was just, I had another plan, and then I spent the day with my 2-year-old grandson, and I thought, oh goodness, he's teaching me about these yogic principles and his little way of being. And the more that he has vocabulary, his new sentence that he says is, I don't like that, which is usually his way of saying, no, I don't want to do something. But his way of phrasing it, and his simple little way of being, is, I don't like that. And then I thought, when does that start? When does that start after we're born? Once we get a little personality and a little language, when do we start not liking things? When do we start labeling things as pleasant and unpleasant? It's positive and negative. And is it possible to move beyond that? Is it possible to begin to reverse this conditioned way of being that we see all around us? People making choices based on what they like and they don't like, and what they want to do and don't want to do. But Santosha asks us to live with a sense of joy and abiding peace and contentment, so that all those things we've labeled really don't matter. I know it's a big ask, because if I were to ask all of us right now just to make this mental list with a column on one side of the things you like and a column on the other side of the things that you don't, it'd be pretty easy. We've been living this way for a long time. But what if even the things that cause us discomfort, even the things that we really don't look forward to doing, can we still come with this abiding sense of peace and joy and contentment, and being in love with the fact that the sun came up and we're still breathing. And I don't propose that as a way to discount the traumas and the burdens that we all have to walk through, because they are real. But how do we walk through those things and still hold on to this sense of santosha within? So what I'd like us to do just across these few minutes and then in the days to come is to begin to cultivate santosha. I want to be in love with my life, all the parts. When I wake up in the morning and there's breath in my lungs, I want to be in love with my life. And when I go into the kitchen and there's a sink full of dirty dishes that I just kept putting off, I want to be in love with my life. And when I get to work and my inbox is just so full of so many things asking for my attention, I want to be in love with my life. And when I look in the mirror and realize that I'm a little older, maybe physical parts don't work exactly like they used to, I want to be in love with my life. I don't want people to determine my amount of love that I have for this beautiful life that I've been given. I don't want the way that people drive next to me to determine my sense of abiding joy and peace. And I don't want the bad decisions of others, the selfish decisions of others, to cause me to forget that I woke up this morning with joy, that there is breath in my lungs, and I get to live another day. That is santosha. And so for these next few minutes, what I would encourage us to do is to see the things that we're struggling with the most. I know usually in meditation we try to just let those things fall to the side, but I'd like us to see them. What are the things that could potentially interfere with your ability to feel joy and contentment tomorrow and the day after and next week? See them. So just for this next moment, we're going to just sit. It's not making a list, it's just kind of owning it. What are the things that hurt your heart right now? What are the things that are frustrating and agitating? What are the things that you truly have no control over, but you've still got to figure out a way through them? Let's see them right here. And as we see them and we recognize them and we know that they exist, then I would invite us, if it feels comfortable for you, just put one hand right across your heart and begin to notice how that hand is moving with your breath. As your belly expands with air and your ribs fill up, that chest begins to move. The energy is flowing. The breath is coming in. The breath is going out. And could this hand right here at Heart Center remind us of the beautiful gift that we woke up this morning and breath was in our lungs and we got to live another day. And we don't want to take that for granted. So just notice as you breathe, feel the movement. Even if your hand is not there, notice that chest. Notice your heart beating, moving with the breath. And then you can just allow your hand just to come to rest if that feels right. We can't wait for the struggles to stop to find our santosha, our contentment, our abiding joy. We can't wait for the people in our circle, in our family, in our workplace to exhibit really nice and kind behavior before we discover our santosha. We can't wait for the world to become a little less broken and for people to get along a little better in order for us to begin to find true contentment. The breath in our lungs, the energy flowing through our being, I would propose that that's enough. That's enough for me to feel santosha. True, abiding joy, where I can say that I am in love with my life. And so let's just sit and just see if maybe today is the day we begin to cultivate it in spite of all the rest of the things that we saw. One breath at a time. I see the struggle, but I nurture santosha. I interact with the person who causes frustration, and I nurture santosha. I look at the pain around me, the violence, and the way that people act and treat each other, and I cultivate santosha. Each breath that fills us up is a gift. It's not an exchange of gas. It's not just oxygen and carbon dioxide doing its thing. It is truly this life-giving force that we've been given. Find the contentment there. And when the day gets rough tomorrow, and the behaviors are sometimes incomprehensible, and you want to be like my grandson and just say, I don't like it. Place your hand on your heart, feel the breath moving within you, and just say to yourself, santosha, contentment. And then someday you'll look up and you'll realize, even with all the broken parts and all the pain and the health struggles and the list goes on, you'll be able to say what I say every day. And I didn't used to say it, but I say it now. I am truly in love with my life. And that is my wish for you. Namaste.